good evening, everyone, and welcome to our special mini-series of Wanderhome. My name is the Ravenous Archon. You can call me Will. I'll be your storyteller this evening, your guide, as it were. We're going to pick up in Falley's Bridge. It is a liminal nature that was chosen for our game as a starting point. Falley's Bridge is named after the creek that once ran beneath it. When the dam up north was erected, the once glorious river became a shadow of what it was. Now Falley's Bridge sits as a monument of wood and stone to a bygone era. The farmlands that have sprung up on the banks have painted the landscape in a myriad of colors. Flower beds wash over the banks in hues of blues and orange and red that almost give the tributary the feel of a calm river at sunrise or sunset, depending on your point of view or your mood on that day. A collection of beetle farmers can be found on either end of the bridge. And before we get into it, I want to introduce the characters because this is a collaborative narrative storytelling game, diceless, and everybody starts with a token. I'll be trying to keep track of them as much as possible. I have dice here representing each of you. But let's go down the line and let's get a little bit about who you are, who you're playing. Let's start with you, Donald.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I'm Donald. I'm playing Sal. He is a tree frog exile. As an exile, I have left my homeland and cannot return.
Okay.
I'm a little jumpy. I mean, that's maybe just the frog in me. And pragmatic. But I try not to be down about it and just wander as I can.
Okay. Anything else?
Should I go through all of the little bits, or
No,
more just?
we can visit them as they come up, as they become prevalent. Okay. So let's jump. Let's jump to Junie. No pun intended.
Hi, everybody. I am Junie Vanesh, and I am playing Selene, Forest Wing, the Firelight, and I am an owl. So I will say, who are you?
Okay, and Kenny. Let's wrap it up with you.
Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Kenny. I am playing Thistledown. That is a rook. Don't know what a rook is. That's in the same family as the ravens. So just think of it as a raven, but with a much longer bill. I am a poet, and I am, I have collections that people have known. However, people have thought them to be very romanticized poetry that has a feminine quality to it, and which is completely opposite of the actual person that I am. Well, the actual rook that I am. So I decided that maybe going on this journey now to rediscover myself, as far as with book in hand, trying to come up with something that is not so much of what people recognize me for.
Okay. So getting back to Falley's Bridge. The last vestiges of the day crawl back into the horizon. A smattering of some kith sit on the western edge of the small snake of a sapphire creek. They have the traditional paper lanterns for a funeral. Someone has passed away recently. Thistledown, who were they to you?
Well, this is actually, this is actually Marley's aunt who actually helped her. That's helped her in by the creek. Marley's family is all fishermen, or at least generations of fishermen that recently, because the bridge now no longer has the water running through it, now there's actually flowers that have grown into the meadow itself. So they have now become cultivators of that, as well as cultivators of some of the beetles, beetle ranches that are close by. And unfortunately, due to a long, long time on this earth, on this earth, her aunt, unfortunately, Gladys, has passed away. So
Okay.
Do they still call themselves fishermen?
they're fishermen by heart is the way that I always put it. They still treat it's still interesting and odd customs that they still use techniques like they were fishermen to gather these flowers. They'll use a net that gets casted over flowers and then just reel them in, which I thought was a little bit of a waste considering that does damage quite a bit of the flowers, but it's been working for them so far. So
When all you have is a hammer.
Yeah. Wreaths of mock orange flowers adorn small wicker boats tied to a post. There are those that believe that the mock orange is a memory, and that there are those that know just where to find this elusive rare flora. What does the flower look like and smell like, Selene?
Oh gosh, you're asking me. Okay. Good question. I gotta go look that up again. It is a rare flower that doesn't show up very much. It's a night flower though. It smells like oranges, which makes it people think of it as usually a orangey, but it's actually a pale peach almost going into a white that reflects off of the moon's rays when the moon is bright, and it's very rare. It doesn't come around very often.
Okay.
well, let me ask, does this normally come by any chance, come during when a passing of a kith by chance?
Interesting question.
Or is it
The last time she saw it was when her mother passed ages ago, so probably maybe.
and you see immediately you just see Thistledown grabbing his book and then literally little beak of ink pop, 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 pop onto his beak, and he's just literally just starting to write down something as he's being told this.
Falley's Bridge is a town on the outskirts of the Great Kingdom. Beyond the green pastures to the east lie the vast expanses, long forgotten roads. And this is not the first time that some of you have been to Falley's Bridge. It will hopefully not be the last either. But as the years churn on and the river thins out little by little, we open on a community in mourning, and depending on who you ask, some people know exactly who to blame. What are the people grumbling about, Sal?
We're in the month of Breathe.
It's a season of Breathe. The month is Moondance.
So, in Breathe, we have we're right on the edge of autumn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what the people are grumbling about is that it's extremely inauspicious for somebody to have died on the eve of the Moondance, because that's while there's the months in the season, Moondance is the festival time. And so these wreaths that they should be preparing in the paper lantern should be to honor the long dead and not the recently. Different people say different things of who they blame, but everybody seems to have that sense that they want to blame somebody for this. What should just be a random occurrence as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. Gladys was a member of the community, a pillar, some would say. She is laid out on the main raft that has been made a funerary rite. The lanterns that everybody has placed around her vessel are a tradition, a way to light the path onto the next life. Gladys was closest to Thistledown. So, what strikes him about her coloring as the sun is about to set in the horizon?
Oh, what's interesting is that her actual skin is as pale as close as pale to the actual mock orange color from these flowers.
Okay.
It is in during this time it is tradition to, even during the Moondance, whether rare occasions, unfortunately, of someone passing, you do send notes with these lanterns. So one of the notes is one of the things that I would make sure is to pass is the note that I would have is just hand that over to Marley, and this was something that letting her know this is something that it was me in this moment with what's going on. This is reflecting of our time together, as well as the time that we knew of that time I knew of Gladys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a small haiku that I wrote.
Nice. Before we come to Gladys, to Marley, as Gladys has been laid out in the traditional funerary methods, and they are getting ready to let her be driven down the river as is custom. What stands out to Selene about her garb?
This woman always wore more kind of autumny, kind of earth tone colors. And there is, besides the semi-peachy, almost kind of dark amber, it goes from peach to amber in the dress, there is this several lines of this bright pink. It just reminds her of the ribbons that she would put into Celine's hair when she'd come to visit
Hmm.
when she was a child.
What do you think, Sal, about the accoutrement that they have laid around Gladys?
Well, as the sun actually starts to set, we can see the moon is pretty bright in the sky, and that same river of flowers of its varied colors sort of glows around Gladys's raft, and the patterns of the wreaths that they've laid out make it so that she looks like a leaf floating on that river of the flowers. And I've just really never seen anything like it.
I thought I was the poet. So, right there.
There is a small hand that kind of slides into yours, Thistledown. You can hear the sniffling of a little creature at your right. This is Jambi. Jambi's a young male deer. And you can see that he's got one hand in yours, and the other he's got this crumpled up piece of paper. And he just kind of wipes his nose.
And what, Jambi? I understand there's a lot of emotion today. What is it that you have in your hand? Is it is it crumpled up as in crumpled up as it used to wipe his face, or is it crumpled up as though it has writing in it?
It's crumbled up as if though this was supposed to be his offering, but he has instead kept it. So it kind of sticks out in little tufts on the top and bottom of his hand.
Well, Jambi, was that happened to be the offering you wanted to give to Gladys?
Yeah, yeah, it was. But Marley said that I could keep it.
Well, that's very nice of Marley to say that.
She said that Gladys had enough offerings. If I really like this one, then I could keep it. And you see him take his hand back, and then he kind of puts the paper against his little chest, and he just kind of like lets it out. Then he shows it to you. It's crumpled all to hell, but it's a child's drawing of Gladys feeding a young deer child, which you imagine is Jambi, porridge. There's like a happy face in the sun on the corner of the page.
Oh, that looks like a beautiful memory. And I imagine that's you. Is that right, Jambi?
That's me, yeah. How did you know?
I mean, with talent such as yourself, I could see the detail. That it must be of you and, of course, Gladys. And I see some color around you guys. That these are the colors of the flowers in the riverbed.
Yeah, they were her favorite.
I take one of the mock orange blossoms. I'm like, and this one right here is actually very rare. It's actually the first time I've ever seen it bloom. Come to think of it, and it happened on the day that we sent off Gladys. So, you know what they call this in this town, in this area?
The McCorange?
Mock orange, but they also have a name it's called Farewell's Gentle Kiss. Because from my understanding, this blooms when there is a passing. To show that even in the dreariest of days, even in shadow and gloom, that there is some brightness. So this is for you. To always and you can keep that with your picture. Because this is actually Gladys's favorite color.
That's very nice. And you see him kind of just put it to his face, and he just very much cares for it. He's very, very protective of it.
Now, have you shown your? I think that you should go to Marley and see about trying to get this framed up. Maybe have it somewhere in the house later today.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that.
Pat Jambi on the head.
Yeah. Selene, what is Marley? We know she's a female. What kind of kid is she?
Raccoon.
Raccoon.
Because she always meets me by the bridge at night, ready for a treat. Always sitting there, waiting for the glow of my lamp as she knows I'm coming closer. So I have to make sure I have something from some other tavern or inn that I've been to prove I've been walking and that I haven't been just sitting around getting lost in the forest. And as she waits, I then produce said treat right into her hands before she would run to her aunt to show it off. Nocturnal animals. We have to stick together somehow.
There is this kith that's a wolf. Sal recognizes them as Henth. They're non-binary. They represent both masculine and feminine energy, and neither at the same time. What is Henth to the village? And what is Henth to you? And why would they allow you to be the one to cut the rope to let Gladys go on to her next journey?
In this area, villages tend to have some places that might have like a bureaucratic structure, like a mayor and a sheriff and a lawgiver or judge. Here, Henth acts as the guardian of the bridge, and as that, the guardian of the village, but not in a fighting kind of scratching way, though they can, if need. But in a guardian of their traditions, of their well-being, in the sense of where they have access to the resources. Henth just kind of keeps track of all these things for the people of the village, and has for quite some time. Henth is, some say ageless.
Mm.
And Henth remembers when Gladys came to the village. As an exile herself.
Same home?
No, well, I mean, maybe. I unfortunately didn't know Gladys. But Hen thought it was auspicious for a visitor that can't go home to help send, their pillar who made a home here off, into their untethered new home.
Al, has Henth ever trusted you with the truth? You say they're ageless. Would they count as one of the forgotten gods?
I don't think Henth would say so. The villagers don't really treat them that way, because they just wander about and intermingle, eat food with them, celebrate with them at festivals, but is set aside and special. Maybe that is what a god is, and maybe that's what happens to a god when people forget they're a god. I don't know. Definitely something special to this place that I've not seen elsewhere.
Tell us how you let Gladys move on to her next journey.
So Henth had provided me a ceremonial scissors, which look kind of silly, but as Henth says, it's tradition is tradition, and it's important to keep things in certain ways. And they sort of left it up to me to figure out how to make this transition of the ceremony, because the Moondance does have to still happen. And so as the sun's going down and everything is set up on the river for Gladys to be and just ceremonially cut free to float down the river. The preparations for the Moondance are happening up on the bridge. So we're not the only ones who have been looking down over the bridge onto the scene of the river. There are those who are, in their festive gowns, preparing to have the good times after the sad times.
Okay.
And so, from the bottom of the bridge, I'm going to simply make big arms, point out the things, and then play a very short tune on the drum that I have from home. And Donald can't describe that because I don't have no music to me.
Sure. It's not like we have a drummer in the cast.
Yeah. Yeah, not at all.
But something slow that rises into the sound of a rushing river.
Okay.
At first a slow beating, for the heart that we're going to let go, and some little bits of splishes and splashes as little taps. This is a small conga, or bongo. And then cascading up to the sound of the river rushing, and then I'll cut the rope and jump up onto the bridge.
Okay.
I'll leave Gladys to be, to move on in peace in the river.
Marley walks over to the gathered assembly that's on the bank.
I make a point of returning the ceremonial scissors to Anth.
And they thank you. And they give you kind of a solemn nod. But Marley comes over to the group before they disband. I'll be taking John B over to the little shrine down by the water's edge if anyone wants to come along.
But of course.
Yes, please lead the way.
Sorry, Sal. Mind if I borrow that drum?
Please. Just be careful, I can't replace it.
Of course. It is the Moondance after all. So even during this solemn time, we still would want to honor the people before us here, as well as hope for what lies ahead of us. So I just start tapping, just a rhythmic tap. Literally it's just pop up, pop up, pop pop, pop up, pop, almost like a little bit of a march, almost until we get to the little shrine area. I know one of the things that Gladys, as well as actually their whole family, loved to do was dance, and I'm not trying to do a jig here or anything like that. This is not, we're not about to do swing dancing, but this is at least the idea is that, again, as I told John B, was even during the darkest times, you still have to. There is still hope for the light ahead. So it's plus, I didn't bother Gladys too. Gladys wasn't too. She didn't hate my music. She didn't love it. But she didn't hate it. So
Okay. You see that some of the people kind of take notice of the rhythm. It almost becomes like a march towards this little shrine. Selene, what does the shrine look like? And what is the god that is enshrined therein?
Excellent question, because Selene doesn't know. She doesn't really stay around the bridge very often because she's always moving. She doesn't really get to know people. She knows them during travel, but that's about it. Once they get to their destination, she lets them go. I think the last time she probably saw it was when her mom passed. And that was ages ago. So she would watch everyone go down, but she would stay up on the bridge. I think from what she would remember, they took pieces of the bridge, the little stone, and made like a little alcove, carved some, carved little statues. It's not really a god per se, but it's a grouping of something that reminds the village of them as being interconnected. There's no one particular name attached to it. It's just known as, the Bridge family. And as, Celine's watching from the bridge, watching them go down, she just, enjoys that they have found their community and that they're a part of something bigger than many other towns that she has seen.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. The sky starts to darken. There's little the solemn sadness kind of creeping in to the horizon as the last of the lanterns is snuffed out by the distance. There's a low rumble, thunder. Thistledown, is this a wet season for Falley's Bridge?
If it is, it's very few and far between. I mean, the river, the river is thinning out, and because of this area, usually it would thrive on its own, but because the river is thinning, I would imagine because of either some far, from what he could remember, was possibly a dam, or at least a holding that is reducing the amount of water coming through to this river. Uh, the weather doesn't help. It's mostly sunny days, 9 times out of 10.
Mm.
9 days in a row, if anything. Very rarely do you get rainfall here. So if there is rainfall, it's also another cause for celebration, really.
One life ends and another begins.
Hmm.
Thistledown, as everybody's done with their offerings and their moments of silence and their well wishes to this bridge family, something starts to scratch at the back of your mind. What was the last thing that you wrote that you actually liked? What could have been an offering for Gladys if you had been here?
I think it's not the last thing that I liked. I think it's the last honest thought in my head, is the way I can describe it. What I wrote, such flowery poetry over, is what I'm known for, and I did it because it's what I learned from my parents, my mother mainly. Um, Reading her collection has inspired a lot of what I've written before. Um, but this is actually what I wrote down as far as an offering to Gladys
Hmm.
as as it was sent off is probably the first thing that strikes me, because this is not, it's not what I normally write. It's not I'm not seeking I'm not trying to romanticize a moment. I'm trying to bring a different perspective. And it's just simple. It's literally I've been writing haikus lately.
Hmm.
So it is mock orange blooms pale. Sweet scent drapes the silent air. Farewell's gentle kiss. And this moment, that moment strikes to me because the moment I wrote that, this is also a moment that I would not forget, because this is now starting a journey in self-discovery for myself. That it took a moment that is very difficult to write, is to romanticize and to sugarcoat, and something that I would probably do beforehand, but this is actually the first time I say no. This is actually something that you have to be in that moment and just express what you feel. And that's pretty much I as I'm doing that, I'm like, wow. And I just start, you see I'm literally just, I drop the drum, which I apologize, Sal, that I dropped your drum.
Oh no, I'm like lickety split before it hits the ground.
Yeah. My
Uh,
drum.
I turn my right wing over so I could pull a feather out,
Hmm.
which always hurts. Dip, 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 dip. And I start using that. Like, you can never run out of a quill if you have feathers. So it's
Correct.
just,
You'll just be naked.
well, it hasn't happened yet. So,
Yep.
and I start frantically writing down.
Okay.
This is now. I stop myself midway, realizing where I'm at. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
this is not the time. Put this away.
As the shrine procession starts to make their way back to the bridge, since Selene stayed behind, what has caught her attention as far as the preparations for the Moondance are concerned?
No, she always likes to watch them. How they actually light areas, being that she happens to always carry a light herself. She enjoys watching them placing the lights, what decorations the lanterns are that year, as every year it changes.
What is it this year?
It's actually the mock orange,
Hmm.
only because of the timing of everything. They noticed it blooming just before Gladys passed, and they thought this was auspicious, but at the same time, good fortune and luck. Because something always ends, something new always begins. And they were honoring the circle of it all when Gladys passed, and they didn't realize it.
Suspicious.
Never know what's going to happen next.
What are some of the smells that are permeating the bridge?
Oh, well, this is why she's hungry. Famous meat pies, fresh baked bread, little goodies of cookies and small cakes and spices. And they're starting now as it's getting closer to autumn. The mulled wine's getting made. The ciders are starting to be brewed. And it's not the crisp, cool ciders of summer. It's the hearty, warm ciders of fall coming in. And she can start to smell them bringing in the chocolate, so that when it gets to be very cold, the hot chocolate comes into play. She remembers running around with those tasty little goodies when she was a child visiting here, when she was walking with her mother.
The group that set out pay their respects at the shrine have come back to join the festivities. Nurma and Varen, a female elephant and a male hippo, are greeting everyone as they're coming into the Moondance Festival. Sal, what do you know about this odd couple?
They'd both prefer that there be water here. And both of their families have been here since a time when there was.
Mm.
They make the best of it, and they stand out a bit for their thick skins that are not just real, but emotional too. But for the festivals, they love planning, events. They love making everybody else be able to feel the things that they don't quite show themselves as readily. And so they took up, even without all the help of everybody who was off tending to the funeral, they took it upon themselves to, make the best preparations for the dance that they could.
Mm.
And you've never seen anything like a hippo dancing.
Yep, Varen's got some moves.
Oh yeah.
Thistledown, what is
And-
something that you've noticed about this couple that you don't think anybody else has?
What have I noticed? Well, one thing that I would say is that he's actually he doesn't like telling people that he can't see very well, especially at night. Uh, he tends to hold her hand quite a bit, especially around this time. He'll hold over a lantern by his eyes, mostly in order just to see people up close. But lately, but you can tell that when he's dancing, he closes his eyes, for he knows exactly where he's going and what he's doing. And yeah, it is in that moment you realize that yeah, it's actually very captivating to watch as a kid of his size with his eyes closed dance literally around everybody in this on the dance floor without running into them, give or take a couple people's feet, of course.
Who knew them before they were married?
Well, if I would actually have to ask around, because it seemed like they've always been together.
I've been asking a lot of pointed questions as the guide. Now I feel like I'm going to open them. So if anybody wants to take it, they can.
Selene knew them before they were married.
Okay. How have they changed?
They've grown closer. They've grown more together. They were two different. They haven't changed as much as one would think, but it was more of watching two puzzle pieces come together.
Mm.
One was always happy running around, and the other one was more grounded. Now one is running around happy and running around. The other grounded knows where the other one is at.
Who was who?
So needing one. Norma was the one that was always running around, and Varant was the one who was always steady and knew where he was at.
Mm.
And she would wrap him around in different ribbons when they were children, because Selena used to run around with them too.
Okay.
Now, Thistledown,
Hmm.
do you know maybe you noticed that the drum sounded sour while you were tapping it. It wasn't just the situation.
Please, can you explain that for me?
In my home, we have a saying: life is a carnival, and you should live it dancing. And this drum, while it can sometimes do the sounds of farewell, is much more at home when guiding happy feet and enlivened souls. So, I think, and I try to hand it off to you again, you could try again and get something very much nicer out of it. Now that we're up here, bathed in the moonlight.
As he says that, he passes that over. He passed the drum over to me, and I actually reach into the bag that I have, like into the satchel, the briefcase I have. It's like literally just like papers just stuck all throughout, and I cram it open just pry it open just a little bit, just so I can grab a bag. Literally, it's just a cloth that's holding just crumbs of food, like bread, like hearty stuff. You can see that's a little, and I wrap it tight, and I actually use that as a beater to put onto the drum itself. So it's more like, and I'm starting to notice that as we're doing that, people are now moving their feet to the rhythm to that, and as you can see, I can start hearing other people. Um, so I go, what would work with this? And I look, there's tall blades of grass of, I would say, man, I can't remember the actual pieces of, or if they're like reeds, but they're actual blades. And you can see that when you actually glide your hand over with a little bit of water, it actually makes like a humming noise, similar to how you would how you would pass your finger over like water glasses. And I hand that over. I go ahead and I see Jambi, and I hand that over to him. I go, you know what to do, and you can see that
Yeah.
he can see that he starts doing that one note with it. It's a high pitched note as it goes with it. Yep. And yeah, just walking right on in, trying not to get run over by the dancing elephant.
Yeah. Sal, what is one of the instruments that stands out that joins in Thistledown's starting of a band?
What's surprised me is that it's all improvised instruments. It doesn't seem like any of these are things that people have had in their home that they brought out for the occasion. And maybe it's a Moondance tradition that they have, or maybe that's just how they are on the bridge. But somebody's got a gourd filled with pebbles. Somebody's got just a washboard that they would normally not take down to the river, but to the watering hole. Somebody else just has two sticks, where one of them is kind of smoother and the other one's kind of rougher, and they can make nice tapping sounds. And they all kind of proceed like that, picking up and leaving behind and passing off these things. And every once in a while, you see somebody wander in that you forgot had disappeared, and they come back with something new, a little pine cone to rub against a string, and make some sounds that I'm pretty sure I haven't heard before.
Okay. To all of you that have come and gone from Falley's Bridge before, Who normally starts the music on any of the festivities?
Thistledown.
Never good at it, but I'll start. I always start it. It doesn't mean I'm good at it. Yeah, it's usually just clanking of rocks together. Usually you would get like two rocks and you get a string, and you about this far apart, and you would just uh wind it back and forth so they run into each other. It's kind of like that game that you would do with the ball in the cup. That's
Mhm.
essentially the idea. So you would just use that to keep the rhythm. Um, that's yeah. John. The only reason why I bring up the Blades of Grass is because Jambi was the one that introduced that to me.
Mhm.
But yeah, washboards are mostly unused throughout the river because of the fact that the river's drying out. So yeah, it's essentially just like a little station of places to play. So
Who starts it when Thistledown's not in town?
that's a good question. Used to be Gladys, but she would sing,
Hmm.
so it was. She liked the hum. She liked and it's usually just the around the same melody, similar to what I was playing on the drum beat. Uh, but yeah, surprisingly, this would be the first time I'm ever in this area that I don't hear her sing. So yeah, this is going to be new territory to see. Who would actually take this up? It's actually pretty interesting to watch to see what would happen. Who knows? Maybe
Some-
Marlin.
Someone notices somebody leaning over the edge, stoic, pensive. Who notices and who is it?
Hmm. Oh well. I mean, somebody that I've only seen maybe a couple of times. Looks like a tree frog.
Mhm.
Very, very dour. You could see, like, you could tell that you could tell that she is sad, although the expression on her face looks like she's smiling. Um, she's always wearing a sun hat, though. Doesn't matter what time of the day. But yeah, she's sitting over there. I will say that memory serves me correctly. Uh, Judith? No, Juniper, I think is what she was called. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and ask her, make sure that I know that for sure.
Okay.
Um, Juniper, is it?
She shakes her head as if kind of washing away a daydream. And she looks, oh, yes, Thistledown, correct?
Yeah. Yes, it is. And
Good.
Juniper, I don't mean to impose. I want to make sure it's okay if you need a moment, considering all that's been going on today during the Moondance.
Oh, it's it's been one of those things, um, you know, it's just Gladys was very dear to me. I know
Yeah.
that you're not from here, but I saw you spend some time with her. How was she to you?
I mean, I I would say that she was more of a saint than anything else, because I feel as though I put her through a lot of headaches, considering I would get Marley into a lot of mischief on my behalf while I've been around here. Um, but, you know, she is an anchor. Best way I can describe it. She's the anchor of this place. Um, Doesn't matter how high I fly or how high I get Marley up to fly. She's always been able to ground her, keep her grounded, knowing where she's at, and enjoying what is around her as opposed to what could be. That's something that I'll never forget. Is that sometimes the moment is what is needed, not what could be.
Okay. I look down at this vast distance between where we are and where the river was first, before the dam. And now it feels like if I were to just let go of the railing, I could be with Gladys. You know? I wouldn't have to worry about things anymore.
Let me ask you, Juniper. You have your family here too, is that right?
No, it's just me.
It's not just you. If and I point over to everybody out, and I'm saying, everybody here has one thing in common. Really, only one thing in common, and that's this place. It's actually Marley. And I'm sorry, forgive me, Gladys. And I'll tell you right now, there's not a single person here that I know more of than Gladys in this area.
Now she's
But
gone.
but what I do see, and maybe you don't see it right now, but there's a little bit of Gladys here. Every single person here. And that's really what this is all about. It's that she's not really gone.
She feels
I
gone.
mean, I'm sorry you broke up.
She feels gone.
Yeah, it's sadness that you're feeling.
There's a hole.
And what you're feeling right now, you can only feel because of somebody that you care about. And the amount that you feel this way because you've cared so much for this person. And that's the only reason why you feel down. But I would
Feels worse. This feels hollow. You know. I guess I don't want to bother you. I'll go somewhere else and be with my thoughts. It's fine.
Juniper, you're not a bother. In fact, I want to spend more time with you, if anything. You seem like a very interesting person to me.
Would you like to use one of your tokens
Yeah,
to ease Juniper's pain, if only for a moment?
definitely.
Okay.
Because
It's
if not,
unfortunate
I
how
am.
that sounds like, well, would a token make you feel better?
Yeah, it's like shove this in your face.
Yeah.
Feel better.
Yeah. It's not a
A
token.
token, that's what I always wanted.
It's not a token in game.
Yeah.
But yes, the system has ways of giving you tokens and having you spend those tokens. And for this instance, I was between easing someone's pain, if only for a moment, or to keep someone safe from the difficulties of the world. But I think it leans more towards ease someone's pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll sit with Juniper, and talk her down.
I'd like to describe real quickly
Yeah, do
a
it.
moment that I think that they'd see as they're talking.
Yeah.
A lot of the little children, the younger kith on the bridge, are dressed in the traditional white robes for the dance. And a couple of them get into a spinning so they can have the robes come up like I don't know if you've ever seen whirling dervishes. And one of them gets a wonderful little tilt on, where the moonlight catches the open circle of the robe, and as Varant passes in front of them, it's like there's a little eclipse that happens on the dance floor, and then the moon of the little robe comes back out from the other side of Varant. And it's just, at no point did they ever cross each other, but the shadows made it so that you got this eclipse effect.
Seeing as how you took a moment to watch a tiny moment of beauty and describe it to the table, I think that earns you a token.
Hey. Ew. Oh, I look at Juniper actually, and I go, Juniper, have you ever met a firelight up close?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot that come through here.
I want to show you my favorite one. I call her Little Spark. I mean, she has another name, but I call her Little Spark. And if you and I take out the cloth that I had of the crumble, I go, if you take this pumpernickel and I place it in the hands, and I go, and if you come with me and you just hand it out, you just put out your hand, I'm going to whistle, and you're going to see firelight up close.
Junie, could you describe what Poppy looks like?
I would first like to say that Pumpernickel is my daughter's nickname, so I'm laughing on the inside on this one. Poppy is exactly as you see it on screen. Well, it's crocheted, but very much different colors. 2 sets of wings. The butt does glow at night. Unfortunately, I cannot make that happen, but very lively at night, very charismatic, buzzing around, sometimes just at times nestled right in to her own robes, and they sit talking all the time.
As you see Thistledown coming over with a female tree frog, I have to ask, what frightens you about the dark so much?
The unknown. You don't know what's out there. The light always tells you. The light always shows. Always was raised with trust in the light. But the funny part is that Selene has heard this entire conversation with the two. And as she sees them kind of getting up to come over, she takes a small little lantern she always gives to like little children who are afraid that walk with their parents. And she'll take the lantern and light it up. And then she'll just let it go on the breeze over to Juniper and Thistledown as they're walking over. And then she'll go, watch your step. Do you need a hand? And she will actually offer her hand to either one of them to come over.
I go ahead and I nudge Juniper, like, now's your chance.
She holds out the pumpernickel.
And Poppy will fly over and get it and then come back. And he'll start really glowing.
See, she doesn't do that for everybody. I say that, I whisper that. I'm like, she doesn't do that for everybody.
That's very bright.
It's a he. Poppy.
It's
Male.
very bright.
Glowing. Yeah. Oh, the females don't glow. I'm sorry.
There you go. Write that down. Females do not glow.
As the music kind of ebbs and flows over the river and the scents tickle nostrils, Sal, what is the sound that reminds you of home?
Just the laughing and merriment. You know, on the road, you can be telling jokes and having a good time. There's nothing quite like that sound of a chorus of laughter and dancing and merrymaking that people can make happen at their home. And when they're not just, physically in their home, but when they've, had that sense of community and sense of, all being home because they're with each other. And yeah, it's I suppose it's sound that can be from any home, but it's what I miss and what I think, doesn't quite sound like mine at home, but because I'm here and I'm with them, it's pretty close.
Okay.
It's going to a friend's family party where everybody's having the good time and the 70-year-old aunt is dancing with the 6-year-old grandkid and everybody's jumping in. You don't quite know everybody, but man, do you get that feeling that this is a home.
Does Falley's Bridge feel that way to you? Could this be home for Sal?
No, I don't think so. I can tell that it's home for a lot of people. And, it seems like a wonderful place. But I don't know if I'll ever have another home than the one I can't return to and escape being able to just want to go back. I guess all tree frogs are a little morose.
The night continues, the party winds down way into the wee hours, and it feels like everybody's going to sleep in. Who wakes up first?
I mean, I don't sleep. Can't tell. I don't. If a rook could have bags under its eyes, then you could probably see. Um, Burning the midnight oil is a thing, and uh, usually it's. I mean, if I get sleep, it's more like an hour at a time. So what? But yeah, the moment that the sun, anytime that there's a crack in the horizon for the sun, I'll be up to see it.
What do you think keeps you from finding sleep? What was the event that switched your circadian rhythm?
I mean,
Do you remember?
it's one of those things. It honestly it came to me because of. I mean, I never really got sleep was not something that I I never really had. Like I didn't realize it was something I needed to search for until um, after my mentor passed away. My 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 source of inspiration, my muse, if you will. And when he passed, it was almost as though I needed to search that out there within myself. Um, This is around that time that I just couldn't. I just can't sleep until something sparks within me. Something that lets me know that I can continue on with this wealth of talent that I believe I have. So it's almost as though when she passed, did my talent leave as well? Um, Anything I've written since then, I don't think it's of high quality, if at all. So it, in fact, I'll probably spend a good portion of that time thinking of what I could have written in those notes that into that offering. That could have been more poignant. That could have been more personal. That you know, it should have been a novel. Should have been an epic poem. Shouldn't have been a haiku. Should have been. It's essentially just beating the crap out of myself.
Mm-hmm. Where are you when the sun greets you?
Oh, I don't know how I got there, but I'm in the flower bed of all of these flowers. I don't know how I got in there.
Mm-hmm.
Lost in thought. I think I tripped over a rock at one point and fell back into them, just as the sun is coming up, just so I can see where I landed, which is close to the water, and I hate being in the river. It takes forever to get out of my feathers.
You find a rock to sit on. It looks like it's just on the edge of one of the flower farms. You can see the fence for the neighboring beetle farm. And there's a beetle that's just kind of standing there in the corner, just staring at you. Its antenna's kind of like crooking in and out. It looks interested in who you are and what you're doing. And then you smell coffee. And there is this shape that sits down next to you and hands you a mug of coffee. They're drinking a mug of coffee. This is Bara, female badger. Describe Bara for us.
Wearing overalls. This is something that she wears because it's much easier to get out of, especially when dealing with beetles, because beetles like to roll in it all the time. She has nicer clothing, but not when it comes to the beetle farm. And you can see that it's layers of mud, dirt, and other things possible that have been caked on to the bottom of her overalls. Other than that, she does have flower in the tuft of her hair that she tends to just grab from, the remaining, depending on her mood and the time of year, she'll put on a different color flower in her hair. In this case, it is a mock orange, just because of the rarity of it. But yeah, other than that, it's filthy clothes. However, she likes to keep herself very clean and kempt. Like, you can see that she takes her time getting ready in the morning. That's the way I describe it.
You can feel her tail kind of rubbing up against your back. She takes a sip of the coffee. I was worried you were gonna slide into the river last night, the way you were meandering about. You had Brutus there all worried about you. And you hear the beetle make a clicking noise.
Brutus, I mean, it's not the first time that you would have saved me from the water, but I appreciate your concern, and how would you? I'm trying to think. Like click. I'm trying to do a clicking noise to try to mimic Brutus.
If it had eyeballs, you imagine him rolling his eyes as he turns around very slowly. Just his face doesn't turn away from you until he has to turn around.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you expect him. This is what the Beatles side eye would look like.
Yeah, I never understood. I gotta work on the inflection of that clicking. I think I offended his mother, and then I look.
And she was a good Beatle.
Yeah, Vera, you're you're up a little bit earlier than I would imagine. Usually, especially around this time, I would think that you would give yourself a little bit of leeway considering all the events that happened last night.
I didn't partake as much as some people, and she kind of leans into you.
I mean, I don't know. Being a rook, you would think that I would understand my limitations. Unfortunately, there is none that I know of until I'm knee deep in your flower bed, which, again, I apologize for.
It's all right. I'm glad that somebody got used to the flowers. I saw what you did for Juniper, by the way, and I really appreciate that.
I mean, the least I can do. It's Kif so young. It's difficult to understand that they have a whole life ahead of them. And
She was really close with Gladys, so she took that really hard.
yeah, a lot of people, I can tell, were trudging through it, considering how they felt, and it's never easy.
No one saw this coming. Didn't even know she was sick.
It's been months since I've been here, so a couple months now, in fact.
Yeah.
The last time I saw her, she was great bill of health, yelling at me, which is normal.
Yeah. Now you got nobody to yell at you anymore.
Oh no, there's plenty of people that can still yell at me. Just, people that yelled at me with a tone of acceptance, if you will, which is rare to find, especially when I cause a lot. I may cause more problems than I'm worth. So, but when was the last time that you saw her?
A couple of days before she went.
She seemed well?
No. She looked thin, hungry.
Has the thinning of the river caused? Have you noticed that a lot more in this town, or is this just, as you said, been a rare occurrence?
Been more of a rare occurrence, I would think. The dam's been up there for what, going on 20 years now? Sal would know better than that, any of us. He was here when it was first, erected.
Yeah. I mean, it is one river to another. Instead of it being a river of water, now we just have a river of color, if you will.
The rebels have been talking about bringing it down, bringing the river back to what it was. I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, I know I can only imagine there's a reason why that dam was placed. And the last thing I would want is to cause a displacement of whatever that was used for. So
This is the way of the world, though. Sometimes towns have to dry up, as it were, so that cities can thrive. I don't think I'll be here in 5 years, to be honest. Not if it continues like this.
Yeah. Falley's Bridge is starting to become a distant memory now of what it once was. But I mean, nothing ever truly lasts, but it does change. And you've done pretty well for yourself since that change. I mean, your farm looks healthy since over these past 20 years.
Well, beetles are always in supply. I can always take Brutus and some of the mares and take them anywhere and start fresh. The more people leave, well, the more we lose people that matter. This Falley's Bridge really feels like home anymore.
Well, I've always learned that physical homes can change, but the homes of the heart rarely crumble. So,
And you're back to spewing poetry, so I'm gonna take that. And she grabs the cup away from you, and I'm gonna go back to my house.
stop.
You go
Okay,
spew. You go spew that nonsense somewhere else.
I see a couple of I see lion's mane on the floor, like in the ground. I'm like, oh, and I start chewing on that because that actually has a little source of gives you a source of energy when you actually use lion's mane. So I'm just like, all right, I'll take it to this then. It's not doesn't taste good at all though, but I'm just gonna.
And she tosses your whatever you had left of the coffee out onto the field, and then just walks back to her house. Where do we find Sal in the morning when he wakes up?
Well, that's going to be the afternoon.
Okay.
Must be nice.
It's little nocturnal, not completely nocturnal, but a little nocturnal. I got put up by, well, not by Henth, but directed by Henth to a empty house that I could stay at.
Okay.
As people have been grumbling about the town sort of shrinking down, and there's a concern about it dying off. And part of what brought me back here after so long was to see what I could do to try to lead that cause or try to contribute in some way. Because I remember how upset people were when the dam first got built, but then how it almost immediately everybody was fine with it. And with the prosperity in the city, they were able to send food down to the villages impacted. People adjusted the way that they farmed. And I thought, well, maybe this is the time, even though it wasn't back then. So, I spent some of my morning, and even during the festivities last night, just asking around to people how they feel about Falley's Bridge.
A lot of the consensus is that something has changed in the last year. The river was steady. It was smaller, and you can see the big difference in where the banks were compared to where the bank is now. Before the bridge barely had any ground that wasn't over the water. And now It's fortunate whenever the river is wider than 50 feet. It usually sits around 30 to 40. And this thing used to be like 200, 300 feet. It's been a huge change for this territory. And just before sundown, a group comes into Falley's Bridge from the north, weathered. Being that you were, and that you are someone that Henth trusts with aspects of combat and knowledge of war and things like that, strategy and all that, you'll recognize the worn look of leather plating that is very reminiscent of armor. But it's been cut up. It's been piecemealed into just actual leather patches, almost like they've forcibly tried to tear apart leather armor. It's a group of 3.
Well, and I recognize one of them as one of the villagers. The other two, I don't recognize at all. I'm gonna say to the one, you look familiar.
The villager you recognize?
Yeah.
What is it? What kind of kith is it?
Field mouse.
Okay.
And the other two are some sort of similar rodenty folk.
Okay, so like rats.
Just slight variations from each other, where I'm not even sure who they are.
Okay.
One's a bit thinner and taller, another one's a bit rounder. And it looks like between the 3 of them, they had one piece of armor that they decided that they needed to share amongst themselves, or they couldn't decide who's gonna get it.
Yep.
So what are you playing at?
The villager kind of jumps a little bit, startled. Sal, hi. I didn't know you were here. Nothing, and you see him kind of grab at the tarp and hide the pieces.
Oh, you don't need to be afraid. Where'd you find that?
No, I'm not. No one's afraid. Sal, come on.
Mm-hmm.
No. How long are you staying? It's been a while.
We'll see how the wind's blowing. And I'm sorry, it's been too long, but I just don't. What was your name?
You don't. Oh, come on. You don't remember my name?
The years have been long, and you've grown so much.
I think that you don't want to name them, so his name is Ansel.
Ah. See, I couldn't remember if you were Ansel, Pip, or Stephen.
Oh, Pip left a long time ago.
And one of these is Stephen?
No, no.
Oh, well.
He looks back at them and he kind of like shoos them, and they grumble and head off into one of the nearby farms. So come on, let me buy you some mead. It's old friends and whatnot.
Sure. And so then, wait, where are your brothers?
Oh, they're around.
You say Pip left a long time ago?
Yeah. Pip left about a year ago. And
Oh, okay, not that long ago.
Steven joined the army, so who knows where he is? He's a big deal now.
Well, that's how some people like. So, is it that you want to be like him?
No.
What's this all about?
I'm not a fighter.
Costuming?
What are you talking about?
Hearing grumbling.
Who's grumbling? No, that's my stomach. I'm hungry.
Oh, well, let's get you, they've got meat pies.
Yeah, I love meat pies.
Left over from the Moondance. I didn't see you there.
Was out skirting around for stuff. Gotta keep the farm going.
Time's hard.
And times are hard. Yeah. But we'll get by. We always do.
Mm-hmm.
You still got that drum? Come on, play a song.
Well, if you insist. No, just doop, 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 doop.
All right. As you start playing for Ansel, where do we find Selene when the sun goes down?
Waking up.
Mm-hmm.
Because nocturnal animal.
Sure.
Sleep during the day, abso-fucking-lutely. She'll be waking up as well as Poppy.
Mm-hmm.
She's at the inn because she never stays in one place for too long.
Yep.
She's always moving. And she'll probably be down at the inn with a lovely thing of coffee or tea, whatever's available, and whatever the morning breakfast for her is.
Yep.
Which is whatever dinner is.
Who's the innkeeper?
Well, it was Gladys until she retired. Because she made the best beef stew. Now it's Mrs. Winiger.
What kith is Mrs. Winiger?
Well, Mrs. Winiger happens to be a squirrel.
Oh.
And true to her kith,
Mm-hmm.
trying to keep her attention for any long period of time is a blessing, being that she has 1,000,000,001 children running around. And knowing that you will be at some point the victim of acorn throwing, acorn pelting, or a squirrel running around, a tail in your face, hey mom, look at me, no hands.
Yep.
She runs around all the time. She could almost match Thistledown for what is sleep.
Hmm.
It is nothing more than a myth.
Okay. She will bring you a mug of tea and some choice fruits. They're on a bed of mock orange petals.
She will, of course, always thank her because she's being polite.
And you'll
And she'll ask-
see. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, go on. Go for it.
You'll see Sal come in with a field mouse.
Mm-hmm. This is sus as fuck. Not at all.
He's playing the drum, and the field mouse is ordering mead.
Said field house in the patchwork leather.
No.
Damn.
He looks like a forester. Like he's got the forest colors. Simple clothing, nothing fancy. His right ear has a little knock in it, like an arrowhead cut. Sal knows that he got that when he was growing up.
She'll sit there and eat, and Poppy's flying around as per usual.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll make sure if they want to sit by her, they're more than welcome to.
Ansel doesn't make a move to sit by you. He'll actually point to a table on the opposite side of the room.
Don't want to say hi to me, Ansel. She'll give a little
afraid of
pout.
light.
She'll give a little pout.
It's nothing personal, Miss.
I'm not going to eat you, I promise. As she shows the berries and fruit on her plate, there's no meat.
Why do you have to say it that way?
Yeah.
Because he knows what's going to happen in the wild, but I don't eat
Yeah.
any mice.
Thanks. That makes me feel better. I'll keep
I
my
hope
distance,
so.
though. Thank you.
How about this? How about if Poppy sits by you? Would that help?
No. Thank you, though.
Okay.
All
Jill
too better
does.
to see the food.
Yeah.
I'm ready to see you with you, my pretty.
But he slides Sal a meat, and he points to the table on the opposite end of the room. Make sure that his back is not to Selene at all.
She'll go back to eating quietly on her own.
Thistledown comes in at this point as well. You've been out and about.
Yep, I'm on high energy off of this lion's mane that I just been chewing on.
Yep.
So, I go ahead and I spot Sal, and I see that he's sitting over there. I raise up my wing to let him know that that I'm here. Just bring it on. Fine. And I go and I sit by Sal. I go, do you mind if I come join you guys? Totally forgot to eat. I've been spending this morning just walking through the flower beds. Oh, hello there.
Ansel looks to you, and then back to Selene, and then back to you. Like, you don't eat mice, do you?
Mice. No, you wait. It's just the amount of cholesterol I get off of just mice. No, not at all.
And yeah,
Oh.
you can sit.
Just
Friends
Yeah, I
aren't
mean-
food. It's fine.
gifts, not food. So, what is it that you guys are? What are you guys up to right now? Obviously, besides eating.
Oh,
Well, and I'm push aside a bowl of whatever I was about to start munching on because Thistle here is a lot hungrier.
Oh.
Ansel
No,
was
I've
about
already
to tell us why he was being so suspicious with his friends coming into town from the north.
no one was being suspicious. I don't know why you think we were suspicious.
As you see, I raise my wing up, and you see me go. Pluck, I just pluck out of like ah. You can hear it go ah. Like suspicious. Dib 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 dib. Why would you be? Why does Sal think it's you're acting
There's nothing
suspicious?
to be suspicious about. And there's nothing to write about. I mean, you kind of like put this little hand on the papers that you're writing, smudging all the ink.
This does hurt every time I grab a feather. You know this, right? Just maybe you don't know this,
I
but
don't know that. I don't have feathers.
so I scooch myself back to the away from Hanzo a little bit. I'm like, so is it suspicious because what you weren't dancing? I mean, everybody was dealing with everything that happened during the moon dancing, but during the moon dance. But what was so peculiar about your events?
Nothing. I wasn't at the Moondance. That's all.
Oh, okay, not a problem. Well, where were you, if you don't mind me asking?
Suspicious.
It's
And
not suspicious.
I flap at him. I'm like, no. So where, if you don't mind me asking, where were you hanging? I imagine you were hanging out, well, further up north of the river, I guess. I mean,
I
there
was
are
just.
some nice vantage points there.
We were just looking for things in the forest to forage. You know, the mock orange
Foraging.
blooms at night. So
Yeah, there was. And it is pretty rare to find, especially, but you usually find it in a clearing, not in a thicket of the trees. I mean, you do find mushrooms and you do find certain things. I mean,
yeah.
was it just flowers you were looking for?
No, we're foraging around. You know, scrounging, trying to find things to sell. That's all.
Trying to find things to sell.
But it was good catching up. And he stands up.
Well,
I'll see you guys around.
um,
I hope
sure.
so, Ansel. It's been too long.
Yeah. Too long. And
And
he
I look
scurries out the door.
I look over at Sal. I'm like, he doesn't seem suspicious at all. Like, yeah, I yell that out as he's scurrying out. He doesn't seem suspicious at all.
Well, maybe it was our Firelight friend who just had him on edge. Some people.
I mean, oh, Selene, I didn't even notice you were there. Hello there. Hello, little one.
I'm not sure how to take that. You didn't notice I was here.
Well, you went to another table, didn't you?
No,
Oh,
they went to another table.
okay. So you guys were not in the same table.
Correct.
Okay, so I happen to glance over and I see that you're not on this table, but in another table.
Correct.
Which is why then I said, hey, I didn't see you there because I went to one table.
Don't use logic on Junie.
So pretty much what you did was you pinpointed, did not view the rest of the room, and went, "Oh, zoom."
I'm a poet. I'm not surveying the room here. This is
A
Ah,
poet never
yes.
takes in their surroundings.
no.
Of course not.
Classic poet.
No. I am heavily focused, tunnel vision, if you will. However,
That's exactly what I was referring to, by the way. And she will
Wait,
pull
have you gotten
out.
into mushrooms again?
just lion's mane. It's not toxic.
Yes. And she will pull out from her bag a long wooden it's a long, kind of like a long wooden box that you could turn around and slide open and closed. And she'll put it right in front of Thistledown.
Can you explain what this is?
Well, if you open up the box, maybe it'll be self-explanatory.
I slide the box open.
It is a huge collection of feathers.
They're all mine, aren't they?
No.
Okay. Whew. I thought
They're
it was bold.
mine. Some of other people, travelers actually give me things. And I took a collection. So you would stop plucking your feathers.
And then I start looking at them. I'm like, peacock? No, peacock feathers don't work. It's too hollow. Let me see.
That's exactly
You'll
what
see
you
some
want.
of her own.
Yeah, but I don't know. if you've ever written with a quill, people tend to be very particular about the amount, the styling.
And
I
that's
guess
why you turn around, can shape it as you wish. And you look underneath the lid, and there's a little knife that you can whittle the points down into however you wish.
let's play a game. And I give her the box. I go, you whittle down the pen to whatever styling you like, and I
I
get
don't
the ink.
write.
I get the ink. Well, no, just humor me. I put the inkwell in the middle of us, and I go, just so you can write down your name on a piece of paper. Let's see who's the first to do that.
She's confused as she doesn't write.
You've never written your name before? Oh. It's just all of a sudden I see all the feathers there, but I'm like, pluck, ah! just grab. Dip,
It's
dip, dip,
quite
dip, dip.
unsettling when you do that.
Hence the box of feathers.
You would think I would be used to this by now, considering I know I'm doing this for. But here, so Selene, so I actually write out her name in calligraphy, nice little like open-ended oval shapes. Uh, I even end it with a little slash, 2 lines underneath to accentuate the e's and the e's and the l's, the e's and the l. Uh, this is your name.
I can read, I just can't write.
And I sit there and I'm just contemplating to myself. I'm like, you can read the notes.
Now, how else am I supposed to know where I'm going if I don't read the signs?
But then, if you could read, surely your hand is written.
I've never
Maybe.
written. I've never written anything down. I've never used a quill, but I can read because my mother taught me. What firelight would I be if I can't read the postings of how long it takes to go from here to there? Reading is one skill, writing is another.
You must have
I've
an
never had to
excellent
write.
memory.
I do, actually. Thank you.
It like, as a poet, this befuddles me to no end. that that surely I'm not asking you to write a sonnet or uh
My job is to make
poem, but
sure people go from point A to point B.
have you
My
never
job.
Mhm.
Have
Your
I
job?
never what?
Have you never written a letter to someone?
No. I will see them along the way. At some point. I've never written anything. I will always walk the same path, if you will, from one town to the next town to the next, to the city, and then back.
Fascinating. And start I start writing in on the piece of paper there, and I go, no, that's not right. And I just
She'll
grab.
slowly pull one of the feathers out a little bit, and you'll see the pink hair ribbon. She'll go, Gladys always put them into my hair. So I keep little mementos of what people give me and what people do. Why would I need to turn around to write anyone when I'm always around between a couple of months? My journey is always about that. That's why I never stay in one place. My home is me. I only carry what I need.
You hear music starting on the bridge again for the second night of the Moondance Festival.
uh, Real quick, and I apologies if this is a little too forward. Um,
No
when
one's ever
was
asked me any questions like this.
when was the last time you saw Gladys?
Oh, well, I came in about 2 days ago, so I would say last night.
Well, I mean,
We had tea.
my wait a minute. And I'm sitting there like Just all of a sudden, it's like do. I'm like, wait, Gladys?
She died I saw her the night before she passed. Is that better?
Thank you. Okay, yes, because last night was actually the night of her funeral and passing. So I just
I'm an
started.
owl. To me, a
My
night
mind
is a
just
night.
went. Wait a minute, this is a
She
totally
could have
different.
had tea with her ghost.
Well,
This is
I
true.
thought that before you said tea, I thought that was just a wonderful way to say, well, I saw her last night. She was there on the.
This
Yeah,
is
that's
true,
what I was
actually.
thinking. I was
Wow.
gonna be like, forgive me when she was alive. That's what I needed to ask.
Oh, before she passed, about a night before she passed. I've never seen her in the day.
And you recall the last thing you said to her?
Sure. I said good morning, and I hope to see you tonight. And she waved, as she usually did. There was a bit of a bittersweet moment. She waved. She looked awfully tired. Almost like she knew something. I guess she did. She was always profound in her ways, even though it was quiet. Hidden little messages.
Do you ever keep any of those messages she gives you?
Hidden little messages is meaning unspoken words, sign language, body language, mementos, and she'll again point to the thing. Little things that I can carry, but won't burden me as I walk.
And you've had this, I take it, inact memory all
Yeah,
your life.
very excellent. Always. I always have to remember, because if I don't remember and I lose my way, what kind of a firelight am I?
No, that is true. And I have read, I've actually read quite a bit regarding regarding firelights, and
No? There's
what's,
things written about us?
yeah, there is
Hmm?
actually. And surprising to me that you've never come across anything like this before.
No. I mean, you think about it this way. The wheel always turns, does it not? Time comes, time goes. She was there for my mother when she passed.
If there happened to be something that she left for you in writing, something that was only just for you, would this be something that you would keep?
Yes.
Have you ever had an instance like this before where, I guess,
No.
offer? Hmm.
She knows I read, but at the same time I can only carry so much. Hence the ribbon. And she will actually go into her hair, pull out the ribbon, and slowly pull it down from her long feathers in her hair, and she'll give you the ribbon.
Hmm. Um, you
Can
pass
you
the
read
ribbon
the
over.
ribbon?
Hmm?
Sorry.
No, or
Yeah,
what did you say?
I do pass the ribbon over to you to look and examine it.
Yeah.
Can you read the ribbon? Is what I was
Yeah.
saying.
Read. Like, is there anything
No,
written on this
not that
ribbon
there's
before?
necessarily
No,
writing
I'm
on it.
asking. I'm actually asking,
Oh,
Celine, if there's actually anything written on these ribbons.
It's not written per se, but if you look at the ribbon, it's embroidery. It's flowers. It's the mocking orange, but there's flowers, and in the embroidery, there's picture. It's kind of like a little picture of her and her mother, her alone, and her and Gladys.
Hmm.
like a little brocade
Yeah.
Mm.
through the.
Um. Is this? And I ask, is this is something that you have actually done yourself, or this embroidery?
No, that was Gladys.
Hmm.
I can only do darning because traveling all the time. I don't have all those fine silks and fine threads.
The ribbon.
Hmm.
Do you have a spare ribbon on you now?
She thinks for a moment. She'll undo one and she'll pull it out.
So, and it's I would imagine it's blank.
A plain pink ribbon. Same pink as the as that was in the rose of her dress.
So, I literally you just see Thistledown just actually scribbling.
Do you want
You
some
blow-
salt for that?
No, it's just to dry. And I'm drying out the ribbon itself, and I pass it back to her. Says on there, Firelight's whisper, soft and bright, guiding lost hearts home. And I start realizing that the music is playing now. I'm like, well, night 2. Hopefully you guys won't get as knackered as I was last night. Apparently,
Nocturnal.
oh, I'm sorry.
Still,
And
the
knackered.
dancing is tiring.
I don't
No.
dance.
Forgive
Oh.
me.
She pulls out the fiddle.
Forgive me. I meant drunk till you can't stand no more.
Oh, that's why I don't drink. I enjoy the tea and the cider. I can't get drunk. What kind of Firelight am I if I get drunk and lose my way?
And I actually my eyes go down very briefly and matches Poppy's eyes real quick. We look at each other like she doesn't know. And then she just like that's that because you don't drink, that's fine.
I know you drink.
Poppy
I
does
fished
too.
you out. We fished you out of enough rivers.
Poppy's light dims just a little bit. Like, boy, shut your mouth.
You think that pumpernickel's not like doubt? You know, I dipped that pumpernickel in a little bit of
It was a poppy seed, really.
It was poppy seed. Also, Poppy had some poppy seeds.
Are you trying to get my Firelight drunk?
All of a sudden, you see in the middle of the night, it's do 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 do. You just see
just Morse code.
This
Hey,
explains why Poppy likes to float around you more often than not.
Yeah.
It's just Morse code. It's I'm fucked up. That's all it is.
Get crunked up, boys. But yeah, as you all kind of decide to join into the festivities.
One little bit.
Yeah.
So I think in a cooperative system.
Mhm.
Well, Selene, you say that you don't dance, but
Mm-mm.
during the Moondance, everybody can feel the rhythm in their bones.
Hence the fiddle.
And no matter how you move with that rhythm in your bones, it's
Mm.
dancing.
She smiles and says,
So,
I'm standing completely still.
yes, but your heart dances.
That's a muscle.
Yes.
That can't be seen, nor do I feel it. It's good.
Mm.
I just let it go.
Well,
And on that note, I don't have the close the session voice. I thought I could do it. I thought I could cooperate.
I thought you were gonna do it too.
I lost it.
No, Selene will just grab her fiddle and go, how about you dance and I'll play?
And as the three of you decide to join in on the festivities for the second night of the Moondance Festival, I think this is a good point to call it. So I want to thank you guys for participating in this experiment. I've never done anything like this, but I can tell you that I am loving this system, so I hope that you guys are enjoying it too. As always, I want to give you guys a chance to plug whatever you're into. So we'll start with you, Donald. What are you up to? Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
I can be found here next Tuesday or Thursday and the following, and eventually being a werewolf.
Yeah, that's right.
Thursdays. Today's Thursday. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Holiday messed up my calendar.
I get you. Junie, what are you up to? Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
I am on the internet everywhere. You can just find me and plug and play. You can find me at my regular channel where I am turning around and strangling yarn, where I made this lovely little thing. I did make this, and I make other things as well because I've learned strangling yarn gets me out of jail. As well as you can find me over at McStabbers, where I play a plethora of different characters in several different shows. And I actually run one myself on Saturday nights, where it's Chicago Hidden City Vampire Masquerade 5th Edition.
Right. And Kenny, what are you up to? Where can people find you on the internet if you want to be found?
You can find me under my handle, Mr. _ with the underscore in between each word. You can find it throughout any social media that's out there. People don't like that name, Mr. _ I don't know where it came from. I just decided just to use it as a handle. Also, you can find my TikTok channel that is, it's there. It's Crit or Die, Bears Love Gaming. You can also find me here. Either I'm a bird, I'm a pirate, I'm a vampire. You find me doing a bunch of stuff here. So
A lot of hats.
A lot of hats.
But yeah, thank you guys for participating in this. Thank you to the audience for joining us for this collaborative narrative game. I am having a good old time, so I hope that you guys are too. As always, please take care of yourselves. And as we saw with Juniper, please know that it is okay to not be okay. And if you need help and you're watching live, there are phone numbers going up in our Twitch chat. That'll be in the description box if you're watching on YouTube later. But just be aware that there are people out there who want to help you, and there are resources out there that you can reach out to and find the help that you need. And all it takes is just kind of taking that first step. If you're not in the United States or don't do well with phone calls and text messages, you can go to findthehelpline.com instead. That link will help you find the resources in the areas nearest you, especially if you're not in the United States, where health is about to take a fucking downturn because of the bullshit administration that's coming in. So just be aware that there are resources out there. Please take advantage of them while you still can. And just know that some people are better at masking than others. So please, if you feel like you need help, there are resources out there. So get the help that you need. As always, we will see you on Monday for our next part of our Scion miniseries as we inch ever closer to bringing our old schedule back online. And if not, you can catch me on Wednesdays over at McStabber Studios, where I get to play a changeling right now. Tomorrow I will be guest starring in their Kansas City game, and then if not, we will see you next Thursday for our second part of Wanderhome, and we'll see where they start to wander off to. So have a good night, guys. Be safe. We'll see you when we see you. Bye.
Farewell.